Once upon a time, a monk who was working in a faraway small monastery in a village wrote a letter to the chief monk of the main monastery in the city. In the letter he wrote, "Dear Bhante, please send one more monk to this village monastery. We need him here to help serve the spiritual needs of the village people." The chief monk called all his disciples and read that letter in front of them. Then he said, "I would like to send 5 of you to the village monastery." One of the disciple monks asked, "But why 5 monks when he has asked only for 1? The chief monk replied, "You will know later. If I send 5 monks, it is not certain that even one of you will reach the village. It is a long way, and distractions are very many." The disciples laughed as they thought it was stupid to send 5 monks when what was asked was for only 1 monk. However, the chief monk insisted and selected 5 monks. The next morning, the 5 monks started on their long journey. After a couple of hours of walking, when they were passing by a village, a messenger came running to them and said, "Our priest has died, and we need a priest. A good salary and accommodation will be provided by us." The village looked quite rich and prosperous, so one of them said, "I would like to stay here because this is true Buddha's work." Actually, the thought of a luxurious life in the rich village filled his mind. "I am going to stay here. You 4 will be enough as only 1 is needed in the monastery." So 1 monk dropped out of the group to stay at the rich village. The next day, as the 4 monks were passing by the outskirt of the kingdom, the king, who was passing by them on horse, saw the 4 monks. He stopped near the monks. One of the monks was young and he looked healthy and radiant. The king said to him, "Wait, monk, I am looking for a young man for my daughter to get married. I have been looking for a groom, and you seem to be exactly the right man." The king continued, "Are you ready to marry my daughter? I have only 1 daughter, and after the marriage my whole kingdom will be yours." The young monk was excited. He thought this was a good opportunity to settle down and be happy. All thoughts of the spiritual mission to serve in the poor village vanished. He agreed to the king's request. After saying goodbye to his fellow brother monks, he left with the king. Now the 3 monks who were left thought that the chief monk was right. Distractions are many. They told one another they had to be careful, but deep down in the hearts, desires and jealousies were stirring. On the 3rd night, the 3 monks lost their way. After walking for some time, they saw a lighted lamp at a distance, and they walked towards that direction. They soon came upon a house. When they knocked on the door, a young girl came out. She greeted and welcomed them and said, "You are sent by God because I was alone and waiting for my mother and father to return, but they are not back. I am afraid to be alone. Please stay with me until my parents return." On the 4th morning, the 3 monks had to leave, but one of them had fallen in love with that young girl. He said, "The girl's parents haven't returned yet. I can't leave until her parents are back." The other 2 tried hard to convince him, but he refused to listen. The 2 monks who were left carried on with their journey. They passed the night in a forest. On the 5th day, when they were passing by a small town, they got surrounded by a crowd of people who had no religion. The people challenged the 2 monks to answer questions about Buddha's teachings. They told the monks that if any monk could show his knowledge, he would be an honored leader and the people would follow him. One of the 2 monks, with thoughts of becoming famous and powerful, decided to stay in the town and engage the people in intellectual question and answer. The other monk reminded him that time was running out, and they had to go on their mission to the small poor village. But ego overwhelmed the intellectual monk, and he was adamant in wanting to stay at the town. So in the end, only one dedicated simple monk reached the destination to fulfill his religious duties. If we reflect on our lives, we will find that many people set goals for themselves. Then they try to move towards their goals, but only a few of them are able to achieve their goals. This is because most of the people get deviated from their way due to the distractions that come in their way. Therefore, if you want to be successful in your life and want to achieve your goals, then never get distracted by the obstacles and temptations that come your way. Only then you will be able to achieve your goals.